What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and we're going to preview the 2024 schedule for the Auburn Tigers here in this video. Before we get to 2024, let's look back at the schedule from 2023. Here was the schedule for Auburn last season, and it's always a tough schedule. They've always had a tough schedule because they've always had to play Georgia out of the East, and then, of course, you got to go through the SEC West. And they usually play a really good team in the non-conference. Cal wasn't too bad for them last year. In the past they've played Oregon and Clemson and teams like that, but they got through the schedule, were able to get to a bowl game, and really other than New Mexico State, they beat the teams that you'd expect them to beat, and they lost to the teams you'd expect them to lose to. And so let's get to the schedule this year, and let's break it down. First, let's look at the non-conference schedule. They'll play Alabama, A&M, California, and New Mexico. Not New Mexico State, but New Mexico and Louisiana Monroe. So a pretty favorable schedule there in the non-conference. Cal playing in Jordan-Hare, you'd expect Auburn to be able to take care of business in that game. So if you win all these, you're already at 4 wins and looking pretty good. You look at the home schedule, those 4 non-conference games. Arkansas, who is a team that they beat pretty easily last year. Oklahoma, they welcome them into the SEC. You got Vanderbilt and Texas A&M. So if they win their non-conference games and beat Arkansas and Vanderbilt, who they should be favored against, teams that they beat pretty easily last year, you're already at a bowl game. But let's take a look at the road schedule. Georgia, Missouri, Kentucky, and Alabama. So that's a pretty tough road schedule. We're talking about Georgia, Missouri, Alabama, potentially 3 top 10 teams. And then Kentucky, that's going to be a tough one as well. Maybe not a top 10 team, but they're always solid, and going on the road and beating them is going to be very tough for Auburn. So let's go week by week. They'll start with Alabama A&M on August the 31st. That'll be a nice way to start off the season. Should be an easy win. And then they'll get Cal in week 2 on September the 7th. And you wonder if this game, it would just kind of be funny because Auburn had to play late last year. They had to play on at 10:30 Eastern time. It'd be funny if they wind up playing this game at noon Eastern time, since Auburn had to stay up late. Maybe they make Cal play really early. I don't know. We'll see what time that game winds up being scheduled at. But New Mexico is next on September the 14th, and then it's Arkansas on the 21st and Oklahoma on the 28th. So they do not travel away from home. All of their games in the first 5 games of the season, all at home. And this is a weird schedule because you've got 5 straight home games, and then they have 3 straight road games. That is just very strange. They got Georgia on October the 5th, and that game will be on the road. Then they get a bye week, so it's not 3 weeks in a row, but it's 3 games in a row. They'll play at Missouri on the 19th, and then at Kentucky on the 26th. And then they will kick off the month of November at home against Vanderbilt. And then they get a bye week, not an ideal spot for a bye week between Vanderbilt and ULM. But maybe that gives them time to prepare for Texas A&M and Alabama. I don't know how they'll use that bye week, but they get the bye week, then ULM, then at home against Texas A&M. So after 3 straight road games, 3 straight home games, and then they close things out with another road game, this time at Alabama in the Iron Bowl. So this is a schedule that is not horrible, but it's pretty tough. Again, the road schedule is going to be very tough. Going to be one of the toughest road schedules in the SEC. The home schedule, though, is pretty favorable. They might have, I haven't done these rankings yet. They might wind up with the easiest home schedule in the SEC and the toughest road schedule. I don't know. It seemed like there was another team that had a really tough road schedule that was probably a little bit tougher than this one. But that's interesting there. The games on the road are going to be tough. The games at home, they're going to have a great shot in. And again, 3 road games in a row with Georgia, Missouri, and Kentucky. At least they get the bye week between Georgia and Missouri. If you can start 5-0, though, they have a chance to finish the season pretty strong when you've got Vanderbilt, ULM, and Texas A&M at home there in November. So an interesting schedule for Auburn. It's, there's some good and bad here, but overall, any schedule in the SEC is going to be tough.